Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
One choice for compassionate care with business professionals. Discreetly begin your road to relief by dialing 813-358-CARD or visit www.mycannabiscard.com. That's 813-358-2273. And make sure to tell them that Al Keck sent you for $30 off new patient enrollment. Ask about military and senior discounts. Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. With uncertainty at an all-time high, securing what matters most has never been more important for your home or your office. Prevent disaster and make life easier. Try a security and home automation system from Alarm Engineers, Inc., Tampa's trusted leader for more than 30 years. State-of-the-art security systems, award-winning monitoring, and now full-spectrum smart home solutions. Alarm Engineers, Inc. has everything your home and office could possibly need and will work with any budget. Book a free security or smart home consultation today. Call 813-948-4000. That's 813-948-4000. And get your first month free by telling them Al Keck sent you. Alarm Engineers, Inc.
Hey guys, what's going on? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television here live on a Tuesday night, not a Monday night. It's a Tuesday night edition of the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this show? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions, It's Sports Mag, on with us talking the latest with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And there has been a whole lot of news today to get to. We'll have JC Allen of the Pewter Report with updating the situation that happened today, according to Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. Former Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49er, Richard Sherman came to visit and work out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's very simple. My question for you guys tonight: do you want Richard Sherman? Do you think the Bucs need Richard Sherman? Very simple. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 here live on NSPN. And of course, I Love St. Pete. Of course, that has been the big story. The other big story is the injury status of some of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer players. We'll get to that in a moment, but we weren't here on Monday. We didn't get a reaction, so definitely want to hear from you guys tonight about how you're feeling, and hopefully you're ready to put that loss behind you, if you will. No Victory Monday celebration, but once again, it's a long season. And here come the New England Patriots on October 3rd. And oh, by the way, it's my birthday. So guess what that means? That's a great omen. That means the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win that game Bill Belichick with some comments today. We'll get to those. Tom Brady with, of course, some comments. You're going to hear it all week long. Hype Central here in the Tampa Bay area, because Tom Brady is going back to Foxborough to slay those New England Patriots. And make no mistake about it, and he even talked about it today, this is not a homecoming. It'll most likely be emotional for him, but he'll be ready to play. And this Bucs team better be ready to play, especially getting after the quarterback, which I get it. You could go out there and get Richard Sherman, Deion Sanders, whoever the hell you want to. But if you cannot get to the quarterback, it's going to hurt you. And it did on Sunday. Sean McVay had a brilliant game plan. And then you don't have JPP. You see how important JPP is. You see how important he is. Shaq Barrett got shut down. Joe Tryon shut down. So, got to get to it. Got to get to a guy like Matt Stafford. He'll pick you apart. 4 touchdowns. It was somewhat of an ugly day. I'm not going to lie. But when you're missing your 2 corners and a Sean Murphy Bunting, who I know Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan Legend SC is not a big fan of. So let's just get it out of the way because he's going to try to troll me tonight.
Shut up!
I had to do it. I'm sorry. I love trolls. Trolls belong under the bridge. But I'll go ahead and play with you guys tonight. I'll do it. But like I said, you're missing your 2 top corners. You don't have pass rush. You have a great game plan. I even went back and watched the pregame today, and I told you who could be the guy that hurts the Bucs. And who was it? Deshaun Jackson. Yep. That Deshaun Jackson. The guy that has all the speed to kill. And even BA talked about it. How it was busted coverage. How it's communication between Mike Edwards and Carlton Davis. Get that stuff out of the way now. Don't let that carry on throughout the season, or you could be looking at some losses. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 live here on NSPN. And, of course, I Love St. Pete. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Welcome to Tampa, Richard Sherman. Bye-bye, Bunting. Look, I don't think Bunting is going anywhere, but it looks like Richard Sherman could be in the fold once again. We'll get the latest from Leo Haggerty as we're waiting for him. And then, of course, J.C. Allen at 9:30. Troy Polamalu, King Troy. Welcome to Tampa, Earl Thomas. Bye-bye, Bucs Trash Corners. So you want to bring in Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas hasn't been called by anybody in the National Football League. There's a reason why. Most likely he's done. I mean, that's what happens. Misador says, bring in the passion. Absolutely. Troy Polamalu, King Troy. People have been saying we should trade Rojo, but they also say Rojo ain't worth a Happy Meal right now. Well, I mean, when your leading rusher is Tom Brady, which is embarrassing, right? You have to make a commitment to the run. But the problem is when you get down, you got to get away from your game plan. You're down 28-14. They know you're throwing the ball. You like to mix the run in. You like to give more carries to Fournette and Rojo. You got a problem when your leading rusher is Tom Brady. You do. Let's get it, bro. Absolutely. Desmond going strong. Walker, who will come on one of these days. We'll get him back on to talk pass rushers. I need this guy on. I need to dissect what's going on with this Buccaneer defensive line, honestly, because they haven't been getting it done. And 3 sacks in 3 games isn't going to get it done. Not against top quarterbacks. Not against a Dak Prescott. Not against a Matt Ryan, even though he threw a couple interceptions. I still think he's on the decline. Still threw for a lot of yardage. And then Matt Stafford. You see what happened on Sunday. It doesn't work that way. You can't fake the funk. It's a new season, and you got to do what you did last year. Somebody's got to step up. Who's it going to be? JPP going to play this week? We'll see. Where's Shaq Barrett at? Where's Joe Tryon? Where's Anthony Nelson? Where's my guy at? I've been talking about him for the last 2 years. He's like a man on a milk carton. You got to get more out of those type of players. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to Christopher Cole. Hey, buddy. Well, it's just one game. There you go. Good attitude. I like it. I like the attitude. You know, I'm always on Facebook. I'm always looking at Bucs groups and stuff like that to see what the mood is, what the vibe is, right? It's all about the vibe, as the kids would say. How you vibing? Are you vibing? Are you litty? Hanging out with the kids too much, obviously, saying that. The vibe is not good. The vibe is like this defense is trash. The corners are trash. No, when you don't get pass rush, that's what happens. But also, when you miss your 2 top corners, that's what also happens. You have to depend on players that you don't think are going to be put in that situation. So then everybody wants to become a Madden GM and then start trading everybody. Well, let's trade this guy for this guy. Okay, well, what picks are you going to give up? We'll give up a first-round pick for a guy that is middle-aged. Why? Really? You're going to do that? What about the salary? I mean, Richard Sherman right now, we'll see. We know what the Bucs did the other day, freeing up money, $4 million from the Ali Marpet deal. Can they get it done? What's the extenuating circumstances for this team? And that means, what's the NFL going to do with the issues off the field? Because they play a part in it. Can they make all that work? We'll see. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I want to hear from you, because this is what I hear tonight. I hear this. I don't know what's going on. You got Richard Sherman that just came to town and worked out. Do you want him or you don't? Do you think the Bucs are going to get him? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Troy Polamalu, no show Monday. I thought you got fired from NSPN. Joined our enemies. Cheater Report. No enemies here because Pewter Report. We have guests on there. We have Casey Hudson, who just joined. We have JC Allen. No enemies here. You know, there's no enemies. You know, maybe a little bit of competition. They do an outstanding job. They've been in the area for a long time. No enemies. I don't like that word. Get Sherman. He's asked, but 30 shouldn't be on anything but special teams. I think he's talking about D. Delaney. Says Fred Swayze Moore. We're on to New England. Exactly. Are you excited about that matchup coming up against Bill Belichick? Can they get it done? Mac Jones didn't have a great game versus the Saints. I don't necessarily think the Saints defense is anything to write home about. So maybe this is just what the Bucs need. Maybe they need a struggling offense with a rookie quarterback. What do you think? 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Bucs can't hang with the big boys. Not right now. But you remember the defense got progressively better last year, right? I think everybody has like selective amnesia, if you will. Right? I mean, riddle me this, Batman. Didn't the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the second half of the year go 8-0? Didn't they dispose of Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes? Didn't your boy there, Troy Polamalu, Sean Murphy-Bunting, have a big postseason? Did you forget that? Did you guys, fans, forget that? Because I feel like talking to some of you right now, you believe that that defense last year was trash. Well, they brought back the same players from last postseason, and that defense was the one that basically shut down Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. In fact, the only touchdown they had was when they're playing touchdown in Tampa. But you fans out there, you guys kind of forget that kind of stuff, right? Oh, things are not going well. Well, the world's about to end. Come on, man. They got to work on some things. But availability, of course, is the most important, right? You can't be injured. So enough with, the corners are trash. The defense is trash. They got to work on some things. They got to work a little bit harder. They know that. They got some time to do it. So, watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area on NSPN, and I love St. Pete, the Sports Web. It's a great day, B-Day. So, of course, they will win. Absolutely.
You can do it!
They can do it.
Oh, yeah!
Absolutely.
Woo!
It is my birthday. So let's go out to Jerry Christensen. You don't have a line that can block for a run game. Well, I definitely think they have a line to block. I think they can block, okay? I just don't think they run the ball enough. You're giving the ball to Rojo 5 times. How many times did you give it to Fournette? It's not enough. You got to give them more carries. You got to establish the running game. Of course, it goes back to the defense, right? All 3 phases of the game. None of those 3 phases of the game were good, Jerry, on Sunday. Piss poor in every phase. Even the punting game. That shank didn't help. You give the Rams a short field, they go down and score. Not good. Put your defense in a bad situation. But when you're down 28-14 and when you're down 21-7, and I get it, we've seen this before with BA. He likes to throw the ball. But you got to establish a running game. When Tom Brady is your leading rusher, that's a problem. It's a major problem. So I definitely think you have a line that can block. They showed it last year. Again, this selective amnesia thing. Like, Rojo was what, 20-something yards away from 1,000? Come on, man. It's about the attitude of wanting to run. It's about the attitude of wanting to have balance to your offense, which this team does not have consistently. But when they have been able to do that, they've been even more dangerous. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Look at this. Sean Osborne, Mr. Ozzie himself, is Donovan Smith back to being a liability. The lazy Susan is back at left tackle. I mean, that line gave up 3 sacks. Aaron Donald wasn't quiet in that game. He had a sack. The last 2 years he has been. Leonard Floyd. So there is some type of level of concern. But you look at the numbers, guys. 41 for 55. You're throwing the ball 55 times. The Rams are no slouch on defense. They're going to get after it. That's the point of running the ball. I get it. You don't necessarily want to take the ball out of Tom Brady's hands, but you also want to have balance. And the problem with that is it doesn't seem like Rojo at this point has a lot of confidence, and this coaching staff doesn't have a lot of confidence. And usually when he's on the field, more than likely they're running the ball. Because I don't think they are confident right now to put Jones in those passing situations. You know why? Because of what he did last Sunday. Not last Sunday against the Rams. 2 weeks ago versus the Falcons. With blitz pickup. You don't want to get Tom Brady killed. So that's the problem. Let's see. Leo Haggerty is not coming on tonight. So I don't know what's going on at this point. Hold on a sec. And we'll get Leo Haggerty on in just a little bit here. All right, hold on a sec. All right. Well, I don't know what's going on, but we will get him on. We got JC Allen waiting in the wings here. So let's read the rest of these comments, and then that's how it flows sometimes. He's in an area where he doesn't have a lot of service, so we won't have him on. So we'll read the rest of these comments, and we'll go with JC Allen of Pewter Report. Let's see here. We talked about that. Jerry Christian says, can't cheer for sacks when the ball is consistently coming out within 3 seconds. True. Absolutely. I think there were points. I think there were times there where you could get after it. The blitzes are not necessarily getting home, and that's on the linebackers. NBA had some comments about the linebacking play, namely Devin White, which is kind of eye-opening. Again, that's the problem, right? Like, you're a Super Bowl champion. You don't want to be complacent, but sometimes it happens, right? You're human beings. You're not machines. You're not playing freaking Madden. And even then, you can't depend on it. So You're exactly right. When they're throwing the ball quick, you're not able to get after it. You're exactly right. Pete is so pissed the cable is off behind him. I left the TV off. It's weird. Would you say the DBs are Trask? Ha ha. Well, I know there's people out there. Look, I get it. People want to say, well, you shouldn't have drafted a Kyle Trask. You shouldn't have drafted him. If they felt like that was the quarterback of the future, that's what they're going to go with. I trust BA, okay? He's a quarterback whisperer. He saw something out of Mr. Trask at Florida. Jason Light saw something. Tom Brady checked off on it. You think that a second or a third round corner is going to come in here and start? Come on, man. Really? Right away? We saw that happen with Jamel Dean in his first year as a rookie. You're going to go through bumps in the road. I get it. I understand. People are like, well, you should have drafted a corner. But honestly, think about it. Were there really big-time needs? If you have Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Jamel Dean, do you think your secondary is good? Well, again, back to the selective amnesia, go back to last year in the postseason. How did that back end play? Well, I think the back end plays as well as that front end plays. So if you're not getting to the quarterback and your linebackers are not getting there on blitzes, guess what? Your cornerbacks got to step up. And when those corners are hurt and they don't have the necessarily experience to come in, and you're not depending on them to be number one, number two corners, even number three corners, you're looking at them as a fourth or fifth guy, of course they're going to struggle. Come on, man. Come on. Ozzy is always lurking. All right, good stuff, my friend. Teams have a great game plan against us with the quick passes and screens. We just need to tackle better. Agree with that. Let's go out. Sucks they lost, but getting punched in the face hopefully will wake them up. Christopher Cole says 10-1 over the last 11 games. People need to relax. Yes. I wish they would. Let's go out to Marty here. Tom is going to pump up the team. They'll take care of business in Foxborough. You better believe they will. They'll be ready to go. This date has been circled since the first of the year. And even Tom was talking about it when he went to Tampa. They knew they were going to play the AFC East. Oh, great opportunity. I get to play my former team and beat them into oblivion. Sorry, JC Allen. Harry Berg says, what's up, Fred? Let's go out to Armand Davis. Bucs just dealing with injuries right now. That's all. Just think we just don't commit to the run game. That's it. That's been their problem forever now. It's been. They got to commit to the running game. Absolutely. Peter loves. Yeah. I'll read that when he comes on here. We'll get him on here in just a little bit. Trade Marpet, Troy Polamalu, seeing ridiculous stuff. Leo is sleeping again. He's not. He's in a bad area, so he can't call in tonight. We'll get him on again. Last year, 8 to 9 wins for Roger Shue, and this is what you get. You better worry about that offense and Matt Nagy. Maybe they need to design, or maybe you guys need to come up with some type of, I don't know, game plan for a rookie quarterback that has mobility. I mean, I've never seen such a terrible game plan in my life. I mean, that offensive line was a friggin' turnstile on Sunday versus the Browns. You're lucky Justin Fields isn't hurt. So enough out of you, buddy. Enough out of you. I'm in one of those moods. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Fire all of them. Well, then you agree with me. All right. Enough of this. Let's go out to Mr. J.C. Allen here of the Pewter Report. Welcome to the Evolution and Big Time Story today. Richard Sherman out to work out and possibly, you think, here in the next couple of days, sign a contract. Welcome.
How are we doing?
Doing great, buddy. Doing great.
Yeah, I mean, Richard Sherman, the rumors have been swirling for the past 2 weeks. Just took another injury to this cornerback group. We saw, obviously, Sean Murphy-Bunting go down with a dislocated elbow. Timetable 3 to 6 weeks, potentially longer. We know it's not going to be season ending, hopefully. And then Jamel Dean goes down with a knee injury. It doesn't look like it's that severe, but still should miss some time. You saw the Bucs take extra precaution this week. They brought in 2 weeks ago, Pierre Desir to the practice squad. Last week, they brought in Rashad Robinson. Robinson was actually elevated, played, and was one of the starting gunners on special teams. They protected both of those cornerbacks on the practice squad just for an extra level of protection, so no one can poach them like a team like New England, signing them away to handicap them. But, Richard Sherman. So reports came out. Rick Stroud said that, Tampa Bay Times said that Sherman will be arriving in Tampa tonight. Most likely meeting with Bucs brass, probably Jason Licht's bringing him to Charlie's Steakhouse. If anyone's in the area, go to Charlie's Steakhouse. Let us know if Richard Sherman and Jason Licht are sitting down for a nice steak and seafood over there. But then he'll spend a majority of his visit tomorrow, Wednesday, when the Buccaneers return to practice. Coincidence? I think not. Sherman has said that he's want to play with Brady. Brady, supposedly, according to multiple people, sources, has already reached out to Richard Sherman. And you're going to bring Sherman in here. The full court press is going to be on Brady. Everybody that you can think of is going to, you're going to say, hey, Bruce, Brady, Gronk, Evans, all these guys are going to be in his ear all morning long, as long as he's there. And they're going to try to get him to sign a deal. Now, money is going to play a part, but as well, reports today, the 49ers, Arizona both signed veteran cornerbacks today to their respective teams, and it was reported that contenders were reaching out to Richard Sherman, and we saw Carolina Panthers make a trade, who was also in the reporting running for Richard Sherman as well. So it seems like his options are kind of, I don't want to say drying up, because, I mean, depending on what he's asking for, what he's looking for, he could still sign with one of those teams or another team that's contending. But it seems like you got him in the building first. You got the GOAT. You got Jason Licht. You got the team in place. You just need some secondary help. Well, not just need secondary help, but could certainly use secondary help. It looks like they're probably going to try to not let him out of the building tomorrow, and I think there's a 75% chance that happens.
In your opinion, what does he bring to that secondary besides the obvious leadership? I mean, he's 33 years old, not necessarily the same Richard Sherman, but obviously an upgrade at this point, especially with the injuries to Sean Murphy-Bunting and, of course, Jamel Dean.
I don't know how much of an upgrade he is over those players at this point. I think Sean Murphy-Bunting obviously had a tough matchup week one and was kind of exposed before he got injured. But I still think he was going to turn it around and really start to playing to the level we saw him in the playoffs. Jamel Dean is another story. Played pretty bad that first week, but then really turned it around the second week. Of course, dropped that interception that would have got him off the field, so he wouldn't have got injured last week. But I definitely think what Sherman brings to the table is a guy with veteran leadership experience and a guy who fits the system. He fits the scheme perfectly. You're not asking him to play a lot of man. I asked him to play some zone, and it's what he's comfortable doing and what he's been doing, successfully for most of his entire career. I think it'd be a kind of a seamless fit in. If you're going to go to a team that knows how to use what you do best and can highlight what you can do best and bring it to the table. So, I think it's a great fit schematically for him. Obviously, if he's trying to win a Super Bowl ring, I think there's very few teams in the league that really present a better opportunity than the Buccaneers, even though they just did lose this game against the Rams. It's mostly beating themselves. I mean, when you're looking at turnovers, drop turnovers, drop passes, pass rush not getting home, and penalties, I think, all those things are leading to a team that is not performing at the capability that they can. Not to mention some specific players and scheme as well, but I think he would definitely fit in well and provide a boost, especially to this banged-up secondary.
Yeah, and we're on with JC Allen here of Pewter Report live on the Sports Web on NSPN. And, of course, I love St. Pete. Missing JPP definitely didn't help, but the pass rush has been disappointing. Only 3 sacks in 3 games. How concerned do you think BA and, of course, Todd Bowles is about this situation?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, NBA talked about it. You know, they're getting some good pressures at sometimes, although they're just not getting home. You've got to finish. That's the biggest thing. He said it about Vita Vea. You know, you got to finish. You can drive the guy all the way back to the quarterback, but if you can't wrap up, Joe Tryon was getting some good looks until they decided that, hey, we got to double team this rookie and chip him with a tight end. But Shaq Barrett, you just signed a huge contract, and you said you wanted to show how much that you were going to prove that you were worth it. Well, it's time to put your money where your mouth is. Talking to BA on Monday, he's not even certain JPP is going to be able to go this weekend. So, you're looking at that. Joe Tryon, I think, is going to continue to progress, continue to get better the more reps and snaps he sees. But he's still a rookie. He's still going through a learning curve. He still needs to learn. He still needs to figure out some more pass rush moves. You saw him try the bull rush over and over again a few plays and just get stood up by the tackle. So I don't know what they necessarily need to do. Devin White's gotten close a few times, but it's just, for lack of a better word, and for, some big giant schematic breakdown is you got to get home. I mean, you're getting pressures, you're getting solid pressures. You got to get home, and you've got one of the best front sevens in the league. You got to take advantage of it. And JPP does hurt missing him because of his flexibility, being able to go inside, outside, do a myriad of different things in this defense, and really lets Todd Bowles be able to, move him around. But this is also a team that has one of the most, the highest blitz rates in the NFL right now, and it's alarming that they're not being able to get home when they're rushing 5, rushing 6, and they're obviously not doing it with it when they're rushing 4 or 3. So I don't know what the quick turnaround it is. Maybe it's some schematic flaws going on there as well, but it's also players just not finishing when they need to.
Yeah, and it's also busted coverage. BA talked about that today, especially with the Deshaun Jackson touchdown, which I kind of foreshadowed. I thought that, Sean McVay would somehow get him involved because he has that threat. In fact, Jackson, that touchdown for Jackson is the 9th of 75 yards or longer in his career. That ties him with most in NFL history with Hall of Famer Lance Allworth. Also marks the 33rd time of Jackson's career that at least 50 yards, bringing him with 3 of the greatest of all time. Jerry Rice, Jackson is already ahead of legends like Randy Moss and Terrell Owens in that category. So it was a busted coverage. That's communication, right? I mean, that's Carlton Davis and, of course, Mike Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, you got to play tighter coverage than that. And mostly Mike Edwards got out of position there. He
fell down.
Yeah, he got bit. He got bit by watching Stafford's eyes for too long. So, he's got to make a better play than that. The other play too was with that big 3rd down completion to Deshaun Jackson. Devin White again running into his own player, hitting Carlton Davis out of the way and letting him get behind him for that big gain that brought them down, I think, to the 8-yard line where they scored real quick with Cooper Kupp. So, if you're Devin White. And I don't mean to shift the focus off Carlton Davis right now, but if you're Devin White, you got to play a little bit smarter. 2nd week in a row. You saw it last week with Kyle Pitts and Levante David. He's the biggest concern on defense for me right now because he's just not playing. This is the guy who is ranked number 1 of all off-ball linebackers by an ESPN poll of front staff members. He was ranked, high in multiple polls and multiple PFF, had him 26th ranked for coverage. And I think you're starting to see maybe they're onto something, but, after improving in coverage last season, he's playing too aggressive, too out of control. And it showed 2 weeks in a row where he's allowed big plays to happen. But this defense as a whole just needs to pick it up and turn it around.
Yeah. JC, BA said this today. There's no doubt that Levante David and Devin White, they both can play better. Devin, he's like playing against the run. Nobody's going to run the ball on us anymore. So he's got to play better at playing against the pass. Both of these guys are capable of multiple interception games. They can both play better. And you look at Pro Football Focus, which, by the way, this is your guy, John Ledgerd here, a Pewter report. He says that there's 6 missed tackles by Devin White. You don't expect that because here's a guy that will definitely knock your teeth out. But like you said, it looks like he's playing too aggressive. So that may also be the reason. It may not necessarily be on that back end. And I'm going to read your comment. Yes, I do appreciate the back end, but back end last Sunday for this team, but it also may be the linebackers. And you talked about it. Devin White, not only against the Rams, but also against the Falcons. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, you saw Tyler Higbee and you saw a guy like Kyle Pitts, a rookie, go off. And this week doesn't get any easier. You caught a small break, with James White being out with a hip, being out indefinitely with a hip, but you're still got, if I'm Belichick, I'm finding out ways to get Jonnu Smith one-on-one with Devin White and try to take advantage of that matchup. You got Hunter Henry. You got 2 tight ends there that they're going to have to account for. He's going to have to tighten up. He's going to have to get better. I mean, this is a guy who led the team in tackles last year. And as John has spoken, has 6 missed tackles so far. So, like I said, if I'm Belichick, I'm finding different ways to get Jonnu Smith lined up on Devin White and having him cover him one-on-one, because as of right now, that's where you can take advantage of it. With cornerback, it's difficult too. Mike Edwards, after those, the winning defensive player of the week, he saw a significantly less amount of snaps. And Bruce Arians said the other day that he really liked what he saw at a Cockrell and what he saw at D. Delaney. And, he's had a man crush on D. Delaney since that second preseason game.
Right.
But you got to get Mike Edwards more involved, especially in this game. I think it's Patriots are a ground and pound type team, right? They're going to come out with a lot of 11 personnel, a lot of 2 tight ends. They're going to try to run the ball at you. Well, you've got one of the best run defenses in the league. You have had for the past 3-4 years, so you're going to have to continue to play that game and then say, hey, beat us in the passing game with your rookie quarterback. And you're just going to have to hope that not only can schematically they find a way to cover up some of their deficiencies, especially at cornerback. And, at this point, I hate to say it, Devin White in coverage, but, they're going to have to be able to find a way to disrupt him as well and get after the quarterback. So it's going to take a lot of balance and a lot of control. And I'm interested to see what the game plan is, because, this is a team that knows how to, on defense for the Patriots. This is a team that knows how to play against Tom Brady. They went head to head. A lot of these guys went head to head in practice. I mean, Josh McDaniels is in Tom Brady's brain. Bill Belichick, they're gonna be ready. They're gonna be ready this week. And for them defensively, they're gonna have to. For the Bucs offensively, they're gonna have to make sure they're crisp on point and get rid of these penalties that have been killing them. Second in the league in penalties. With 27 penalties, third in amount of yards with 230. They have just been killing them. 6 false starts from this team. Just unacceptable penalties. They've been shooting themselves in the foot with them. Drops, turnovers. You can't have these types of things happen and expect to win games. And especially, this Patriots team, this is a big game. A lot of emotion, a lot of hype around it. It's obviously certainly going to be a little bit bigger for Gronk and Brady than some of these other guys, but it's a game that you have to be 100% focused on, because Bill Belichick, one thing he does better than anybody else is take away something from your offense. And with the Bucs not having a running game, that really opens it up to say, okay, let's take away Mike Evans, or let's take away Gronk, or let's take away one of these guys and say, beat us with everybody else. And this defense has some of the personnel that can do that.
You're exactly right about that. Again, we're on with JC Allen here on the Pewter Report, live on the sports web on NSPN and I Love St. Pete. And of course, BA talked about this. We have to get 30 guys back, and you already corrected it for 1 year. You would anticipate it being corrected the second year, but it hasn't. One of the things that we're totally talked about a lot in our team meetings is why we got to get it stopped. The only people who are going to get it stopped, especially the pre-snap penalties, are us. In your opinion, do you feel like the crowd noise is really affecting this team? Which, look, it wasn't a big-time factor last year, so is it a factor this year, in your opinion?
It's probably part of it, but just lapses. Just lapses in concentration. This is a professional team, and we saw this last year. This plagued the Bucs last year until week 5, and they turned it around in week 5 after that Bears game, and then they became one of the least penalized leagues team in the league. It's happening again this year, and Bruce said, we went through this last year, and you would expect that we wouldn't be going through this again, but here we are again. It's just mental lapses and sure, the crowd noise, it does get loud out there. You're going from playing in front of nobody, but there's not an excuse because they've been practicing indoors, especially this past week leading up against the Rams, knowing they're going to be inside. They practice indoors all week with the crowd noise blaring out. So, I mean, you've got really no excuse. You're a professional NFL player. You need to make sure, lining up in the wrong formation. And it's like these are penalties that, a defensive pass interference penalty sometimes can be a good penalty, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a guy's going to get by you and score the short touchdown, it's okay to tackle him, to grab him, to hold him so he doesn't get the ball. And a false start, a lineup in the wrong formation and offsides, those are never okay. Those penalties are never okay. And that's what they've got to get better at. They've got to, somehow internally reach down inside and say, I don't know. There's no quick fix to how you change penalties, right? It's practice.
Yeah.
And it's just being in game situations and learning. And I don't, it's something's at a click for these guys where they're just that dialed in, that focused, where they're not going to be making these easy penalties that are going to cost you games. And it's happened so far, multiple times in multiple games.
JC, what about the running game? I mean, honestly, it's been the most disappointing component of this offense. When you have Tom Brady leading your team in rushing, that's a problem. And of course, you don't want that to happen because he's coming off a knee injury. So what's the solution at this point? More carries for the victim of a fumble, a volume, and a Ronald Jones? Or is it more carries for Fournette? Or do you see what Keyshawn Vaughn has? Giovanni Bernard looks like he has it looks like he has an MCL injury there. So more than likely you can rule him out. So what's the solution to this problem with the running back room?
Well, your boy, victim of Valium, Rojo, I mean, he probably needs a therapist or something to talk to because he can't get out of his mental for the life of him. It seems like he just forgot how to run, forgot how to hit the hole. Leonard Fournette's auditioning for Dancing with the Stars every week, just dancing at the line of scrimmage. Giovanni Bernard finally got more action after Bruce saying he's our third down and he's our 2-minute back. Well, he finally got more action. Hasn't seen a carry as a running back, but had 9 catches for 51 yards last week through the air, which was huge. And you saw really what the Bucs are doing. They're not comfortable or confident in their running backs. They ran 5+ screens. They used a lot of screens to supplement that running game. A lot of short passes underneath to the running backs to supplement that running game to keep, because, that's the thing. If you can't get a running game, you don't need to set up play action. That's been proven, right? You're not trying to set up play action, but you're trying to keep the box. You're trying to keep it balanced. You're trying to keep, obviously, Tom Brady from not throwing 50 passes a damn game, but you're also trying to keep defenders honest as well. I mean, if they can back up and know that, hey, they're going to pass it on every down, then it's easier to play coverage. It's easier to rush guys. It's easier to get after the quarterback because hey, they're going to pass it. 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 Just play the pass. Don't play the run. Just play the pass.
Yeah.
And right so far, there's been no threat of them being able to break away long runs. There's been no threat of being able to be consistent with the running game. I don't know how you turn it around. Maybe Marlon Mack is available. Maybe you get him cheap or get a new running back in here. Hey, like these guys fires under the you-know-whats. Keyshawn Vaughn, I asked him about that. I asked Bruce about that yesterday in his press conference. If Giovanni Bernard, I can't do it as good as Stephen Che, but if he can't go, maybe you see what Keyshawn Vaughn can do. Is he ready? I know a lot of people were not too thrilled with him in the preseason, but you've got to do something. Because last year, you were still one of the worst teams running the ball, but you got it done. Even though Rojo was almost had 1,000-yard back, was almost you didn't get enough contributions from everybody, and it was Tom Brady led your team in rushing yards in the loss against the Rams. Like, that can't happen ever.
No.
I don't care who you are, what team you would. That can't happen. Like, for real. Like, what's going on here? The world is changing or falling apart or whatever. I don't even know what to say there. I'm so flustered by that. Tom Brady led your team in rushing yards. That's terrible.
It is terrible, and it's
terrible.
like Matt Ryan trying. Yeah, terrible. Charles Barkley would say that. It's like Matt Ryan trying to run, the quarterback option and being successful with that. Easy for me to say, not successful in that attempt to do that. But, with that being said, I mean, Keyshawn Vaughn has his own faults. He puts the ball on the ground. Ronald Jones puts the ball on the ground. He doesn't know how to pass protect. Leonard Fournette has his faults. So if this doesn't work out and Giovanni Bernard is out with an injury, do you think there's a possibility where the Bucs go out into free agency or possibly trade for a running back that will fit this system?
I mean, it's going to depend, first of all, on if Richard Sherman signs, how much he's going to cost and how much is going to be left in the cap.
Right.
And then price, I think you can get Marlon Mack here probably for a 7th round pick if you wanted to. I think he signed a 1-year, $2 million contract, prorate that throughout whatever, or maybe he's cut. There's not a trade market, but he's stuck behind Naheem Hines and obviously Jonathan Taylor. But, coming off an ACL tear himself, I don't know where you look, where you go, because as we know, especially if you're a fantasy player, running backs are they're a hot commodity. People
Sure.
lose running backs all the time. I mean, Darrell Henderson was just banged up and out of the game. You look around the league. Now Christian McCaffrey might miss some time, and Josh Jacobs just missed some time, and Kenyon Drake had to step in. So it's going to be hard to get a running back from some of these teams. I don't know where you even look, where there's a guy who you think can do better. Who is the guy out there that's going to do better for you? I mean, do you look to Buffalo? Maybe look to see if Devin Singletary's on the market. But even then, is that an upgrade? Is Marlon Mack enough an upgrade? Or do you just need a guy to come in here that's got somewhat of a name that can push these guys into playing better? I don't know the solution, because by all accounts in
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson. Oh my goodness. By all accounts,
I'm
Rojo looked good in camp. That's what I don't get.
I know. And I'm
good.
the person that's going to sit here and say victim of volume and a guy that can do it, but it just looks like he's not all there right now. And it's disappointing.
It's frustrating.
And then on top of it, BA isn't willing to run. We've seen this before with this offense. I mean, you talked about it, game plan this week. Do you think that this offensive coaching staff will have enough confidence to run the ball to take the pressure off of Tom Brady? Because that Bill Belichick and that defensive coaching staff is going to have some surprises for Brady and that Bucs offense.
They're going to try, but this Pats defense is pretty good against the run too. I mean, you look at the guys they got there. Gotcha. They got some athletic, rangy linebackers. So it's, I don't know if they're going to have success running the ball against them either. So it's difficult, and it doesn't get any easier as you go along either. You're talking about the following week you have Miami, and their defense, and then you have the Eagles on a Thursday night game and their defense, and you got Washington's defense down the line, and by the time they play the Saints, they're going to have their 2 defensive studs back. The defensive tackle, I can't remember his name right now, and Marcus Davenport. So. It's not going to get any easier for them to get the rushing game going. And I've said this since week 2. You got to get it going. You got to get the rushing game going for balance, if anything else. You can't have defenders just backing off and saying, okay, they're going to pass and play pass protection the entire game. And you certainly can't have Tom Brady at 44 years old sitting back there that many times, leaving him susceptible to shots and passing the ball 50 times a game. So I don't know what they're going to do. You're going to have to kind of just trust in the coaching staff, and maybe it's not BA either. It's Byron Leftwich who's calling the plays here,
Correct.
mean, BA might have said after that fumble, Rojo, sit down, whatever. Get out. You can't get out of your head. You can't get back in the game. But Byron's the one calling the plays. He's the one saying, okay, get 7 out there. Okay, get 27 out. Get 25 out there. He's that guy. So I don't know where it starts. I don't know where it stops. But again, Tom Brady is the type of player that he's Thanos. He's getting the Infinity Gauntlet. Fine, I'll do it myself.
Right.
That's the type of player he is. You can't be reliable in the running game. You can't be reliable in the passing game. Just get out of the game, because we've got a game to win, and I can't be handing the ball off to you and you getting 2 yards, or you're not. Not picking up blitz pickup or running out of bounds before right in front of the first down marker.
What the hell is that, by the way? And like I said, I was watching that play and I just could not understand it. Here you are, over 200 pounds. You put on all this muscle. We've seen you do it before, Rojo. Just put your shoulder pad down, get that extra 2 or 3 yards. You never know.
Hit the hole. Stop trying to bounce it outside.
Right.
You have a hole there. it's like this, not like this, but that's. Right. And then the craziest thing is, there was some I guess Twitter controversy, if you want to call it, last week. But he posts a video of him, that 98-yard touchdown of him hitting the hole and running, which was the exact example that was given to him of what he hasn't done this year. Like, right. You're obviously watching the play of you doing this. So do it. You have the ability, you have the chops. You continuously, everyone continues to say you are the best pure running back on this team. You're the best pure runner on this team. You're not multifaceted. You're not a good pass catcher. You're not a good at pass pro. Obviously, you had a snap where you attempted it this past week, but you managed to throw the guy off balance. Good for you, but it wasn't a clean pass block rep by any means at all. But I just, I don't know. I don't know where to go from this running game. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
All right, let me read some of these comments and then we'll get back to it here. Let's see. Should we bring back Aqib Talib? Here's my answer for you. No, and because he's announcing for Fox, so that's impossible. Peter, you've heard of Aqib Talib as a commentator on some NFL games. His voice is so horrendous. Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan Legend SC. When we sign Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas, Bunting and Davis will be working at Publix. I mean, this guy really has it out, but he says Earl Davis or Earl Thomas. Earl Davis. It might as well be Earl
Thomas has been in the league since like September 08.
Right, what NFL team is giving him a call, and why do fans like this try to say, you know what, we need a safety upgrade? You have Antoine Winfield Jr. You have, of course, Mike Whitehead, and you have Whitehead. I mean, you don't need Earl Thomas. Stop it. Come on. How about them St. Louis Rams beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? How about you get the team right? Sean goes, we will be back to LA this season, maybe once, maybe twice. Absolutely, because that could be a preview of the NFC Championship game.
Back to back.
Would you say right now the Rams are the best team in the NFC besides the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought that before the season too. The only thing about that though is you got to remember the Rams are going up against the Seahawks, the Cardinals, and the 49ers. They're going to play them. They haven't played any of those teams yet, have they? They played the Bears the first week.
Yep.
And who'd they play the second week?
The Indianapolis Colts.
So they haven't even played anyone in their division, and they have 6 games against those teams. That's the only thing that I don't want to say scares me, because it doesn't scare me because it's not my division. But that's the only thing that makes me nervous about that division is those teams are going to beat the crap out of each other because they're all good. They all have pretty good defenses besides the Seahawks, and they have really good offenses. All of them do. They're going to beat the crap out of each other for 6 games. So that's going to be a tough division. I think it's the toughest division in football. And, I think the Rams are the best team right now, but, looking at schedules, Brian Pearson, the Rams have a lot of other teams that they have to go against, specifically in their division, that they have to get through before they can even start to think about not only winning the division, but getting to the Super Bowl,
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back out to Brian. They can always happen. Tampa Bay stinks. They won a Super Bowl. That's it. Game over for that team. Game over for you.
Great mustache, though. I got to say, great mustache, Brian.
Yeah, great mustache. It's great. Great porn stash there. Let's go out to David. Doesn't Brady get 2 calls in the huddle out of the same lineup, once a run and once to a pass? It's up to him to choose if he wants to audible from the pass to the run or run to a pass, right?
I don't know if he gets the audible from the past.
Yeah,
maybe from a pass. No, I know who that is, so I'm messing with him. But no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know the intricacies of their play calling. I don't know what Brady has. I'm sure they have multiple different things that he can check into. Obviously, hot routes, audibles, stuff, different things like that. But whether he goes to the, whether he goes to the line with just specific 2 calls or whatever, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think, it's a combination of different things, and Tom Brady's he's gonna make decisions it's so complex, this offense, and every NFL offense with
Sure.
the passing with the route trees.
Right.
You don't have one route that's just not like, okay, you're running a flag route, you're running a button hook, you're running an out route. Like, your route completely depends and is dictated on the coverage you're seeing. So, Brady can change it to a different pass play, different run and play. I'm sure they have a bunch of different things, a bunch of different names for different plays and things that he can call out. So I don't think it's just one or two.
I agree.
Each play.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Maybe you're right.
Taylor Allen says you have a hole there. That's right. You absolutely go to your hole. What movie is that from?
You're too good for your home.
Too good for your home? You're too good for your hole. Okay. I'm having dreams that we're going back to our Greg Schiano, Josh Freeman days. I think you're having hallucinations.
Yeah, I don't even know who this guy is. I don't even think he's a Bucs fan. Get him out of here.
The LA Rams beat you guys. Yes, they did. Absolutely.
But they also got beat in the playoffs last year and aren't the defending Super Bowl champions. So congratulations. You won a game in week 3.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at least I don't have gray. He says, least I don't have gray in my beard. Well, that's
salt and pepper looks great on him. How dare you?
That's called wisdom, my friend. Let's talk about Scotty Miller. What's the situation on the wide receiving room?
Doesn't look good.
No,
doesn't look good. Severe turf toe. We obviously know what turf toe did to Julio Jones, what did to Deion Sanders. Multiple players' careers have ended on turf toe. Looks like he's headed for a stint on IR, at least 3 games. You don't want to rush him back for that. And quite frankly, since week 1, Tyler Johnson has outsnapped him and outplayed him. So, it is a big loss because of the schematic things you can do with him. He is I don't want to say he's a one-trick pony because, he's gotten better at some of the other things, but you're losing your burner. I mean, Jalen Darden's going to get called up most likely, potentially, and you have him that can kind of stretch the field a little bit, although he can't stretch it quite like Scotty can, but he hasn't been involved in the offense that much as it is anyways. So
yeah,
it still hurts, but I think if you're going to lose a wide receiver, that's the guy to lose.
Well, yeah, absolutely, because Tyler Johnson has played well. He started to come on, and that's the guy most likely that's going to see a lot of the repetitions for Scotty Miller. You lose the speed threat, but Tyler Johnson, to me, can definitely step in and get some of those receptions. And, of course, Jalen Darden, who they like a lot. Real quick, we'll get you out of here because I know you got to run. Appreciate the time here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Mac Jones, what do you see out of this kid? Impressive at first, but now has kind of come down to earth, especially versus that Saints defense. I can't figure out the Saints team, by the way, Brian. I mean, they were god-awful versus the Carolina Panthers, namely Jameis Winston, and he looked...
Jameis Winston was still bad.
Right. He wasn't great.
You got a lucky touch. You got a Jameis Winston touchdown. That's what that was. You should just name those touchdowns Jameis Winston touchdowns because that should have been a sack or an interception or something. The guy just falls back and throws it up and chuck and pray instead of doing the smart thing that most quarterbacks do. And granted, it ended up in a touchdown, but most quarterbacks in that situation are throwing it away because it's a smart play. Not Jameis. Let me just toss it up there and hope my guy comes down with it. But, I mean, what can you do with that? As for Mac Jones, I've been encouraged. I really like what I've seen from the kid. He's made some very Brady-esque, not Brady, but, feeling and sensing the coverage and stepping up into the pocket, making those slight moves that Brady does to really, avoid the rush and buy himself some time. For me, it hasn't been so much Mac Jones. It's been Josh McDaniels' god-awful play calling that went back to what he did with Tom Brady. I can't stand I can't stand Josh McDaniels, the play caller. It just drives me nuts. Just wasted years of Tom Brady's, prime career with his terrible play calling. But I'm encouraged by Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones has got the stuff. He's definitely, I think, one of the best quarterbacks, probably quarterback, could be, offensive rookie of the year down the line. Definitely probably the best quarterback for this year. I'm not saying overall career, but probably for this year, unless we get to see more of Justin Fields and how he does, although he did not look good. But Matt Nagy is such a terrible coach, whatever. But Trey Lance too. Trey Lance got 2 touchdowns. They bring him in as a runner, but I think he's too soon. So I don't know. I like Mac Jones, I think he's gonna do well.
All right, real quick prediction time. Bucs versus the Pats. Give me your prediction. I mean, is this the medicine that this Bucs defense needs? A rookie quarterback with somewhat of a struggling offense. Can this defense start to get it together? Is this a blowout in your opinion, or is it a close game up in Foxborough?
There's going to be a lot of emotions running high, not just with everyone wants to talk about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick because that's a sexy story, but it's also Josh McDaniels. It's also the guys on defense. You're looking at a guy like Devin McCourty. You're looking at a guy like Kyle Van Noy, Dante Hightower, Dietrich Wise, Jonathan Jones. These guys went up against Brady in practice almost every single day, especially in training camp every day, and then leading up to the week. So, these guys are a little bit in tune to what Brady likes, what his tendencies are. He's not going to be able to look them off as easily as he might with another squad because it's not like these guys are just game planning for Tom Brady for a week and then moving on to the next guy. They have extensive experience. And Belichick, I'm confident, is going to come up with a solid game plan. He does that every week to try to, hey, let me take one thing away from you, beat me with the other thing. Well, you don't have to worry about taking away the running game because the Bucs are doing that themselves. So we're not sure about AB's status yet. We got Kevin Minter came off of the COVID list. Obviously, AB went on after him, but we're not sure, if he is going to come off yet or not. So if he comes off of this Bucs team, it adds a different element. But I could see them, trying to take away Godwin, try to take away Evans and say, hey, beat us with one guy or the other. Maybe try to take away Gronk. On the defensive side, this offense, is predicated on the run for the Patriots, but you're not going to be able to run it. But, they're still going to operate a lot out of 11 personnel. And I think if you're them, you want to get open. You want to get looks on Jonnu Smith, on Devin White as much as you can, and try to exploit that mismatch. Because as of right now, Devin White has not played well in coverage, tackling, multiple different things. So, and Josh McDaniels. I mean, Josh McDaniels and Brady are like that. So he knows what Brady likes to do on offense. Now, again, this is a new team, new year, new system, new scheme, new everything. So it's not like, Brady's going in there with a Patriots playbook and they already know all the plays and whatnot. And it is a professional football game. But I think those relationships, those different things all play into account of it. And for that reason, I have my predictions out before the year, and I said I think the Bucs lose twice this year, 15-2. Obviously, based off my predictions, it's already wrong, but I could be wrong again. But I have them losing to both AFC East teams at the top right there, and it's the Patriots and it's the Bills. So I'm not going to go back on that. I think the Patriots find a way to win this game after the Bucs played a hard-fought game on a long West Coast travel, come back. Now they have to go up north to play a good Patriots defense and a coach and a playing staff that know a lot of what Brady likes to do. So it's going to be a good game. I think it comes down to the last, one of the last drive or two, and we'll see. If it's Mac Jones driving down the field or if it's Tom Brady. But it's a close game, and I got the Pats winning it.
All right, there you go, JC Allen of Pewter Report. Go ahead and promote yourself here live on NSPN, and of course, I Love St. Pete.
Yeah, you can find me right there at JC Allen NFL. One-stop shop for all things Bucs. A lot of different football things going on there too. So whether it's pewterreport.com, Pewter Report articles that I'm promoting, whether it's the Bucs stuff, whether it's PFF Tampa, whether it's grades, funny, whatever, anything you need from Bucs, it's all right there in one place, one click. All you got to do is scroll up my timeline and you'll find everything that you could ever hope, wish, or need for, except for Peter Show, because he hasn't gone on Twitter yet with it, so I can't retweet it there. But otherwise than that, yeah, pewterreport.com. We've got great articles leading up to the game. We will be, and I don't mean to steal Peter's spotlight here, but we will be at Whiskey Wings in Temple Terrace this week doing a pregame show. I'll be there live hosting it. So if you're not at Ducky's, make sure you're at Whiskey Wings. So other than that, it's always a pleasure coming on, talking Bucs with you, talking football with you, talking sports with you, and definitely we'll do it again soon.
All right, man. JC Allen of the Pewter Report. Thanks a lot for your time here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. All right, boss?
Always.
All right, man. Killing it like always. JC Allen right there. Let's go ahead and read some of these comments, and then we'll take a break because I need a break. I need to recoup my voice, if you will. And definitely we will talk more about what's going on with the Bucs with you. What do you think? Bring in Sherman. Don't bring in Sherman. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. 0391. So let's keep on reading these comments here. Sean says, and sweet Salvador Dali stash, bro. Ozzy again, do you wax or wax off? Brian says, you guys are going out there looking at Richard Sherman, 33 years old. Is your team that scared you have to go out and get Richard Sherman? That's pitiful. Still think he has something left in that tank, if you will. I do. I think he still has something left. Again, is he the Richard Sherman of old? No, he's 33 years old. But right now, Brian, because they had so many injuries in that back end, that's what they got to do. And that's what Tom Brady wants. Let me go out to David Mosier, I believe this is. I was going to ask about Miller, but what's going on with AB? I just started watching a little bit ago. You heard the latest there. It looks pretty bad for Scotty Miller. Turf toe injury. He's going to go on the IR and could miss some significant time. So guys like a Tyler Johnson, which we talked about, Jalen Darden, are going to have to step up in this offense. Absolutely. Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan legend. I grew up watching the Bucs to the point where I started cheering for every loss because that's all I saw. Sean says, how old was Deion Sanders when he stepped in for Dallas and San Fran for Super Bowl rings? 33 or older. So there you go. You're exactly right. I forgot about that. But I think Deion was playing at a higher level than Sherman, right? We can definitely agree that he was still one of the top corners in the league. I think Sherman has lost a step, but still is going to help this team out with his veteran leadership. And I think you have to have that. You can't put a price on that. So we'll see how much it's going to be. Taylor says, predictions on the Bucs and Pats. He gave you one. I'm not giving you one. Tune in to Duckies. We'll be live for your pre, half, and post-game editions. Yes, live on my birthday. I'll be working there, getting you ready for Bucs versus the New England Patriots, live from Foxborough on Sunday Night Football on NBC. Bears looking at more CFL coaches for next year. David says Buccaneers by 10. Taylor says both teams coming off of losses last week. Should be interesting to see what energy they bring this week. Like I talked about, it's all about the vibe. All about the vibe at this point. And I definitely think the vibe will favor the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Tom Brady is the one leading them. So he wants to win this. And the more he tries to downplay this, the more you know he wants it. Just saying. Thank you, Mr. Allen. That's what I've been trying to tell everybody. This defense knows Brady in and out. Absolutely. Taylor says, David Mosier, I would hope so, considering their loss to the Saints. Peter, do you think at this point we should start tanking to get the 2022 first overall pick? No. Troy Polamalu again. Cheater report. No, thank you. Sports Web forever. Let's be nice here. It is Pewter report, not shooter report. I think they should be more worried about getting Sherman help than him signing a contract. Well, look, there's definitely issues out there. We've all seen it. We don't know what the NFL and how they're going to rule on it. I agree with you, but this is the first time something like this has happened off the field. Domestic, it is. I'm not excusing it. I don't know what the NFL is going to do. It was surprising to me because this hasn't been an ongoing thing. But it certainly seems like that could be a situation that would affect other teams from signing him, namely the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But once again, I think Jason Light, BA, and this organization has done their due diligence to gauge the situation from the National Football League to see if they're going to be able to sign him. Because you're not going to sign a Richard Sherman and have him be suspended 3 or 6 games. You're just not going to do that. Doesn't make any sense. You need a guy right now to play. You do. Libra season, absolutely. Sanders came in the league like 88, 89, and he played for the 49ers in 93 or 94. He wasn't in his 30s. Know how old he was at that point. It's a great question. Tell you what, let's go ahead and take a break. Keep it locked here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television live on NSPN. And of course, I Love St. Pete.
Hey, Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
Tampa Bay Bucs Super Bowl 55 champ Shaq Barrett coming at you live for NSPN Next Gen Sports. Go like and follow NSPN for total coverage of all team and combat sports, live shows, plus exclusive player interviews and unprecedented sports content creation.
Aren't you loving life in Tampa Bay? Nothing like being defending Super Bowl champs, Stanley Cup champions, American League champions. This is Outkick. Join me every Sunday morning at 10. Let's talk our teams in the hottest sports market in the country. Never too early to talk Buccaneers or check in on all the teams in Tampa Bay. It will be your best hour of sports. The Outkick Show, powered by Guerrilla Marketing. Sunday mornings at 10 on 102.5 The Bone.
All right, there you go. Welcome back to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, live here on NSPN. And of course, I love St. Pete. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. As we talked about it, let's go ahead and recap it. The big story of the day, Richard Sherman coming in and visiting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll see if he signs here in the next couple days. Fans, what do you think? Do you want Richard Sherman? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. And injury news here, according to Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, Jamel Dean appears to have escaped a serious knee injury Sunday. Sources say his status is doubtful for Sunday against the Patriots. One more reason why they're pushing to get Sherman. So it was said that it was a torn patella. Thank God it's not, but we'll know more on Wednesday at this juncture. We talked about Scotty Miller going on the IR there with a serious turf toe injury. Giovanni Bernard, he's a little bit banged up. Looks like an MCL, not torn. So it's day-to-day like we all are on this show, day-to-day. All right, so let's go ahead and shift gears. If you want to talk anything NFL related, you can. I think there were some stories this week. We already touched on the Justin Fields situation, which, again, I've been, very strong-willed about this, if you will. I felt like the Bears should start him, but not put him in that situation where you're behind a god-awful offensive line, which means basically run the ball. Take the pressure off of your rookie quarterback. So I don't necessarily understand how they were using him in that game versus the Browns, but it definitely didn't work out to their advantage, if you will. Of course, talking about the Rams now beating the Bucs, they're now 3-0. In the power rankings and various media sources, they are the number one team in the National Football League. So take that for what it's worth at this point. You got to be happy for Matt Stafford with all those years that he spent with the Lions and not having the team around him, not necessarily having a running game, not having the weapons, and not having a coach that understands his strengths and weaknesses. So you can understand the excitement there with the LA Rams. But like JC Allen said, you got to pay the piper. You got to play in that division with the Arizona Cardinals, with the San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. So you've got some work to do here. Let's not crown them champs yet. Okay? Let's not do that. With that being said, I've been very, very passionate about the Tampa Bay Rays because I'm going to shift gears with baseball really quick. Congratulations, by the way, because we kind of touched upon this on Sunday with Dennis Phillips of ABC Action News of the Rays winning the AL East. Great, good stuff, awesome, love it. But the announcement that follows is kind of peculiar. Actually, it's more consistent on what the Rays do as an ownership. Just saying, yes, we're talking baseball. In fact, what they announced, and team president Matt Silverman revealed his plans in an interview on This Week in Rays Baseball on the radio show, of course, on 95.3 WDAE 620 on Saturday afternoon. we're going to add a sign in the right field foul territory with a very simple Tampa Bay Montreal graphic. Silverman said, especially with the eyes of baseball on us this October. Oh, really? Interesting. We want that visible symbol of our plan and our excitement for it. It will mark the effort suitably and keep the focus on winning. Well, there's nothing suitable about that. There's nothing. Everybody's going to pay attention to that. That's the problem with this announcement. Of course, I got to go on my little rant here, but there was some breaking news from Mark Topkin of the Tampa Bay Times. Stu Sternberg just said he's not going to do it. He went back on it. They're not going to do it now. They're not going to place the sign. But the thing is, why would you think this is a good idea in the first place? Does it make any sense to piss off Rays fans at all? And this has been a consistent thing with this ownership. The last 10 years with the Rays ownership is like having a nagging wife. And here's the thing. I don't have a wife. So how the hell would I know that? Constantly bitching every year about having a new stadium. Constantly. We can't sustain. The fans don't come out enough. And finally, the Rays have success. Talked about it last year. When they go to the World Series, Game 6, what did they do after they lose to the Dodgers? Everybody's excited for the upcoming year. They trade Blake Snell. They get rid of Charlie Morton. Great job. Once again, taking the momentum, taking the hope, the happiness from a Rays fan. That's what this ownership has done. So this year, you come back to it, even with those trades in the offseason, even with some of the doubters, like yours truly, because you could say whatever you want about the Rays ownership, but they do win. Not World Series championships, of course. We'll get back to that in a moment because I've kind of harped on that. And I got a little stat to throw out there that, you know, it kind of supports it. But you win the AL East. You're good to go. Everybody's feeling good about it. Playoff games at the Trop. Exciting. That should be the focus. You should be talking about Wander Franco. You should be talking about Austin Meadows. You should be talking about Kevin Kiermaier and what this Rays pitching staff can do with Shane Baz, what he did the other day. And instead, you're talking about a stupid sign. I don't get it. Actually, I do. It's got to be a plan. I mean, overall, this Rays ownership has shown, absolutely no way they're going to stay here. No plan they want to stay here. This sister city idea is stupid. It's absolutely asinine. You're just pissing off more and more fans. They did this in 2019 also. The Rays were in the middle of the pennant, middle of the season. Guess what? We're going to do the sister city thing. Okay, you're going to draw fans? I mean, think about this for a minute. And I've talked to people over and over on Facebook about this damn thing. I mean, I'm killing it. It's a dead horse at this point. If you went to your favorite restaurant, say it was Burns Steakhouse, and they said, you know what? Because we're not getting enough people, enough customers to come in, we're going to cut back on our quality. Rays have done that. Done that over and over again. Fans don't show up, we're cutting salary. Fan favorites out the door. We talked to Dennis Phillips of ABC Action News. He dropped his season tickets because they traded Evan Longoria. It may have turned out to be a great move, but if you're trying to draw fans, that's not the way to go. But going back to it, because, you got to take sports out of it. You got to put yourself in the shoes, right, of the fan. You go out to a steakhouse, they cut the quality down. You going out to Burns Steakhouse to eat? Of course not. You know why? They cut the quality down. Do restaurants do that? Do they do that typically? Do they say, you know what? Because we're not getting enough business, we're just going to cut our quality down. We're going to cut our cost. No. When in the hell has a restaurant done that? And if a restaurant does that, do you go out there and eat? No. What am I missing? Am I in the Twilight Zone? I mean, yeah, you can post the sign, which you're not, because you knew it was a dumbass decision in the first place. You could do that. You could be like Hollywood. You can remake all these crappy movies. You can remake all these good movies, and they can turn into crappy movies. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. I don't understand it. Although I kind of do understand it. Because I think in the grand scheme of things, I told you, I don't think Stu Sternberg and the Rays want to be here. I love the team. I love what they do. I feel like if they spend $100 million, they may win a World Series. You know, the last 10 years, how many teams have won the World Series with $100 million? 9. 9 teams have won the World Series with over $100 million. One team out of that time, $94 million, the San Francisco Giants, 2013. Look it up. Could that be a reason? Could all this be a reason? Absolutely. But you hear people constantly say, you know what? Rays have a right to do this. They should do a sister plan. Oh, really? With Montreal? Who lost their baseball team because fans didn't show up? Really? Wow. So I don't necessarily understand this whole emphasis to put this out there, besides the obvious. Going back to the comments. We want to put the focus on baseball. If you want to put the focus on winning in baseball on the field, don't put up the sign. That's what happened tonight. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Love the Rays. Don't get me wrong. I hate the ownership. I hate the lackadaisical nature of this ownership. Fans are tired of it. I posted the comment on my Facebook page, and you know what the majority was? Stu stinks. He stinks as an owner. Stu's got no clue. Put that on a shirt. Move him to Tampa. We talked about it. Location. How much ticket prices are. Consequently, the last month, they've kind of dropped the prices on the tickets. Nobody talks about their weekend attendance with people showing up. Why not? Doesn't fit the narrative. I've told you over and over and over again, this team doesn't want to be here. All right, let me go out to the comments. Baseball, yes. Troy Polamalu, you moved the Rays to Montreal, bomb the Trop. Stop it. In Tampa, we support the Yankees. Well, good for you, and you're, of course, a part of the problem. And that is the uniqueness of this situation that people just look over. They just don't get it. You've got a transient state that has Yankee and Red Sox fans. You've got to make sure to get some of those Yankee and Red Sox fans to maybe be Rays fans. How do you do that? Oh, you threaten the fans by cutting salary. Do you think there's a reason why you have Yankee and Red Sox fans? They want to win at all costs. They want to spend the money. They want to do what it takes. Why would they be Rays fans? That's what I'm asking. So what were your thoughts on the sign thing? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I mean, that's what you got to compete with. I don't mind if Yankee and Red Sox fans show up to Rays games. Thanks a lot. We took your money. Thanks a lot for playing. Appreciate you. But you got to turn some of these fans around. And when you have a Jeff Finnick and you have the Glazers doing whatever it takes to win, that's why. Stop saying this is not a baseball area. It is. It will be. When the playoffs start, you will have no talk about attendance. There will be crickets from this local media. There will be crickets from the national media about attendance when the playoffs start. They want this to mean something. And when you trade away fan favorites and you constantly talk down on them and say you're going to move, that's what happens. That's what you get. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Do you think I'm crazy? You think I'm out of my mind? You know, I relate this situation to what I do at work. I do sales for a living. I always hear people tell me, you know what? I want to save money. Okay, want to save money? Cool. First thought in my mind, provide the value. Provide the value. Tell them how they can save money. I don't have time to do it today. I can't do it. I'm not interested. Wait, whoa. You said that you wanted to save some money. What happened? Oh, that's what happened. See, you've never saved money before because you've done nothing different. That's the Rays ownership in a microcosm. They never do anything different. You just do the same damn thing over and over again and expect different results. You know what we call that? Insanity. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Unbelievable. Should be talking about how great the Rays are, and instead we're talking about their stupid damn ownership. Think I'm the only one? Let's go ahead and take a break. I'll go ahead and let you listen to this podcast real quick. This guy by the name of former Marlins president David Sampson. This is on CBSSports.com as he's talking about the situation with the Tampa Bay Rays. It's a little bit long, but I want you to go ahead and take a listen to it, Rays fans, even football fans, because at the end of the day, you want to keep all your teams. This is what he has to say here live on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Here we go.
2 years in Montreal, trying to see what could happen. Can it work? Can baseball work? Baseball takes over and then moves the team to Washington. There is no appreciable plan in Montreal to get a baseball team back. Montreal is being used by baseball as a stalking horse, as a possible relocation.
Whoa. Stop right there. Let's go ahead and go back to that. Montreal is being used. Wow, Major League Baseball has done that before. Should we go back into the annals of history? Should we talk about the Chicago White Sox in 1986, 87, when they were supposed to come down here and eventually they got their new stadium? Should we talk about that? Should we talk about Major League Baseball and what they tried to do to this area when it came down to the Seattle Mariners or the St. Petersburg Giants? How they passed up for expansion for the Marlins and the Colorado Rockies? Should we talk about that? Oh, I'm just mentioning it. Go ahead. Keep on going.
Option. And Montreal is being used by Tampa as part of a, quote, split city scenario. So if you're new to the show, here's the plan by Tampa, where, by the way, they don't have a new stadium funded or finished or started. Let's start with.
So let me get this straight, right? And going back to it, we're just going to go back and forth here. You know, this show doesn't always have to be about football and the Bucs. I know you guys will get used to it, but everybody says I don't talk about the Rays enough. So here we go. This is your special night here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. So let me get this straight. The Tampa municipalities have a problem with getting a stadium in St. Pete or Tampa for $892 million, but this ownership actually expects them to build them a half not even a full-time stadium, half the year stadium for what, $400 million? And then the other city, which, by the way, lost their baseball team because of attendance, to do the same. Okay, now I know I'm in the twilight zone. Here we go.
They want to build an open-air stadium in Tampa, Florida. An open-air stadium. There is no place that needs a roof more than Tampa, other than Miami. But I digress. An open-air stadium from the ground up, not refurbishing one, repurposing a building, a convention center. They're going to build an open-air stadium in Tampa. And then they're going to play there, wait for it, in April, in May, are you with me? And in June. Oh.
If you're a Floridian, you know that's not possible because more than likely you'll have more rainouts than you have games. I mean, at least make it a retractable, an open air during that time. All right, go ahead, continue.
Oh, it doesn't rain in April and May in Tampa. Horse hockey. Oh, it's not hot at all in April, May, or June. Oh, no. It's great in South Florida that time of year. Southwest Florida, whatever you want to call Tampa. But then they're going to pick up all their balls, all their bases. They're going to get the players in a charter jet, and they're going to do their best Toronto Blue Jays imitation and say, bye-bye, Dunedin. Bye-bye. Hello, Buffalo. Bye-bye, Buffalo. We're going back to Toronto. That's what the Blue Jays did this year, and they were miserable about it. But the Tampa Bay Royals, no, that was the Montreal Royals. That's the Kansas City Royals. I wonder what they're going to be called. The Tampa Bay Rexpos X-Rays. That's way better. Thank you. We got the name. It's the Tampa Real X-Rays. They're going to pick up, mark that down, Coke. I love that as a name. The Tampa Real X-Rays. They're going to pick up in June. Wave bye-bye to Tampa. Thank you so much for the sponsorship dollars. Thank you for buying your season tickets. It's only a 40-game plan. We appreciate that you sold out the ballpark in Tampa. We're going to go to Montreal, and we're going to play July, August, September in Montreal, where the weather is beautiful in July and August. September, it gets a little chilly, but it's going to be okay. Where are they going to play? In a brand new open air stadium in Montreal.
Which, by the way, the reason why the Expos moved in the first place, not only was the attendance problems, but because they couldn't provide the financing for a new stadium. But once again, hey, this is the plan by the Rays ownership. So take it all in, enjoy.
The chances of when we were there, or baseball, or Bronfman, or anybody building a stadium without a roof in Montreal, it's asinine. But there'll be a brand new stadium in Tampa, open air, a brand new stadium in Montreal, open air. The players will land. They will find housing somehow for 3 months. Having signed a 3-month deal in Tampa for the housing there, no problem. Teams know where they're going. If they're playing Tampa in the first half, the Yankees will go to Tampa, April, May, June, and then they'll go to Montreal for the road series in July or September. Don't get me wrong. Road teams will be thrilled to go to Montreal. The home team players, not so much. So they get to Montreal, brand new sales staff, all excited for another group of people who are buying half-season tickets. All is great. The team is firing all cylinders. Here comes October. I got an idea. Where are we going to play? Montreal open air October. All right, we'll do that. We may freeze our nipples off, but we'll do it. But what about the Tampa people? What about those nice people in Tampa who used all that public money to build a stadium, and now the team is gone every October? Oh, here's the solution. We'll switch off. 1 year we'll be in Tampa for the playoffs. 1 year we'll be in Montreal for the playoffs. It's perfect. What could possibly go wrong? Trolling is when Tampa continues to talk about this plan as though it's a fait accompli. The president of their team is a guy named Matt Silverman, who I've known since he got into baseball. Extremely smart, extremely well-spoken, extremely thoughtful, extremely good at his job. Extremely. He was so good at being a president that he actually became a GM for a while, did a great job, and then said, you know what? I got a family. I'm going to go back to being president. I'd rather deal with the stadium nightmare than with the clubhouse nightmare. So Matt Silverman goes on the radio and says, the playoffs are starting soon. We're going to do something pretty funny. We are going to put an outfield sign in the Trop in Tampa during the playoffs, which will be seen by everyone around this great fair world of ours. And it will be a sign promoting the Tampa Bay Montreal split season solution.
Does that make any sense at all? Anything? I mean, is there any Rays fan out there right now that can say, hooray? And I get the concept of, well, Pete, it's better than not having them at all. Well, wait a minute. I thought Stu was committed to having the Rays here for generations to come. Didn't he say that in 2019? Oh, wait, he also said that he could not see a full-time plan for the Rays staying in the Tampa Bay area without Montreal. There you go. Now that is truth right there. Let's go back to it.
Wow. Epic.
Really?
Why would he do that? Let's ask him and see what he says. He said, especially with the eyes of baseball on us this October, we want that visible symbol of our plan and our excitement for it. It will mark the effort subtly, and keep the focus on.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines here. Let's go out to Curtis. Curtis, welcome to the Evolution. We'll get back to that podcast in a moment where the guy just sounds like, I don't know, kind of like myself talking about this Rays team and the insanity that they practice on a daily and yearly basis. Go ahead, hit me with it.
All right, first things first. I just want to send a shout out to my son's football team. They just blew out a team in Pasco 36-7.
Nice. Let me go ahead. Fire those cannons.
4 sacks and 9 tackles.
Whoa. 4 sacks and 9 tackles. Can we sign him up for the Bucs? I mean, can he come and provide that presence that Bucs defensive line hasn't had the last 3 games?
Woo!
Good stuff.
He's 14 years old. He's 6'1" and he's 240 pounds.
Sign him up. That's it. Sign him up, Dad. That's it. Come on. Sign him up. Let's change the rules. We changed the rules in college football for players getting paid. I never thought that was going to change. Why not change the age for kids? I'm just joking, but congratulations.
Okay, so
yes.
Let's get back to the. Listen, I am not a Rays fan. I am a baseball. I'm a baseball fan.
Tell me something really quick. When you say you're not hold on. Tell me something. You're not a Rays fan. Why? Besides the fact I think you're a Red Sox fan, right?
That's right. Well, because like I said, I'm born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
And my grandma, she wasn't a baseball fan, but she used to date a guy that was a Yankees fan. And you know what other team to bust his balls except for the Red Sox?
Of course. Absolutely.
So I grew up a Red Sox fan. Now I have paid attention to the Rays when the Red Sox get knocked out. I'll never root for the Yankees. But if the Rays are in the playoffs and they won the AL East and my Red Sox are not in it, I will root for the Rays. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think this split is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's so dumb. And this guy is just making fun of it. And look, I understand it being some type of threat, but Montreal to me is not a threat. And to me, the real situation that Major League Baseball should be looking at, which they most likely won't, because we know that the spineless jellyfish, Rob Manfred, works for the baseball owners, is that this contingency, if you will, the ownership went behind the back of St. Pete, approached Montreal. And by the way, don't they have a lease until 2027? How can they do that? How can Major League Baseball, Stu Sternberg, and the Rays organization not get sued for doing that? I don't understand it.
That right there is the best. That is the number one argument. That is right there. My argument is this. Don't the Tampa Bay Rays have like the cheapest payroll in MLB?
Yes.
And you are a consistent winter, you're
Mhm.
going to use more. You're going to use more fuel in the jets going from Canada to Tampa to wherever the hell else you got to go.
Right.
Then the team is even worse. Like this is listen. This has to honestly be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. In my
Well,
life.
it is, and I'll tell you what else is ridiculous for everybody to buy the fact out there that it's all based off of attendance. Because again, riddle me this, Batman. Isn't it about the TV ratings? And if you have TV money, you have TV deals that you get paid money from that. Not only that, but there's revenue sharing. The Yankees and your Red Sox do pay the Rays. So where does all that money go? And again, I got oceanfront property in Arizona. If you don't think that money goes in Stu's pocket, they have more money than they're saying. And that's why if I were them, if I were politicians right now, I would say open up your books. How much money do you really have?
Absolutely. Well, here's my thing, and I don't want to sound like a butthole, but I'm going to just say this. When they first built the Rays Stadium in town, in St. Petersburg, I personally already thought it was a bad location.
Right.
Second of all, there are always so many other things to do in our area. A lot of people don't want to go sit and watch the game for 3 or 4 hours when they could just simply watch it at home.
With saving money on gas, saving money on concessions. And oh, by the way, I don't know, guys, here's a crazy idea. There's a friggin' pandemic going on.
Correct. The other thing is have you been to a Rays game?
I have. I've been to a couple of Rays games.
Have you been to a Rays game when it was a packed house?
Yeah, I've been out there when it's a packed house. It's pretty lively.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. It's a hell of an experience.
It is.
Stadium is rocking, but when you leave the game, the parking and the streets are ridiculous.
So you get traffic, and that's what people say also is the location. They've been saying location. Yes. And again, I'm on this platform called I Love St. Pete. I do love St. Pete, but at the end of the day, if people are not willing to come from Tampa to St. Pete because of traffic, I get it. I understand it because I've been stuck in traffic. If you're going on a school night on a weekday, it's tough. It's tough to do that.
I personally think they would have been better off putting the stadium in Tampa originally.
Right.
In St. Petersburg.
Right.
The ticket sales would have been better because, a lot of people, and, Tampa International Airport is one of the biggest airports in the state of Florida.
Right.
We get a lot of visitors. Okay. But nobody wants to drive 45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic, to come over here to a baseball game and then, potentially get hammered at the game and then have to drive way back to Tampa.
Right.
But plus, you're going to have to spend 45 minutes to an hour to drive back. But it's going to take you maybe 30 minutes to get out of the parking lot and off the one-way streets in St. Petersburg.
Yep. That's part of it. And that's what people, again, they say, well, you go to the games and it's always the most critical people. And they're either two kinds of people. It's either Yankee and Red Sox fans, which I have no problem with. Look, again,
absolutely
right. Spend your money the way you want to. If you want to like your team, you want to, I don't understand it because you're down here. So you're not going to be able to go to the Fenway Park. You're not going to be able to go to Yankee Stadium. So why not try to support the Rays or at least go to the games? Or it's the people saying, you should go to the games more. Fans should go to the games more. Okay, how many games did you go to? 4, 5. I only went to 5 games. Oh, that's not enough. You got to go to every game. You got to have season tickets.
The craziest thing about it, Peter, is it's cheaper to go to a Rays game than potentially to take a date to the movies or go spend a day on the beach.
Well, it's actually cheaper to do those things than go to a Rays game because, believe it or not, you have to pay for parking, you have to pay for concessions,
Actually,
you have to pay for gas. I mean, That's the reason. Again, I'm not saying the whole experience isn't great, but damn, it's pretty expensive.
But like, they had like $18 days or something the other day, or like,
right. And when did they have those? When did they have those days usually? I know they cut down the tickets, but when did they usually have those promotions?
I don't know, but
during the weekends.
I think that was a smart thing to do, but you still aren't selling out the stadium.
Well, you're not selling out the stadium on the weekdays, but you do pretty well on the weekends. But that's not talked about again. There's crickets.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, there's nobody that wants to talk about that because supposedly there's no Rays fans at all. They don't support this team enough.
No, there's Rays fans, but
of course there is.
I'm not trying to be a butthole again, but like you know, people who work a normal 9-to-5 job, the last thing you want to do is go to work all day, and it's actually dependent on what you do.
Right.
You don't want to have to leave your house at 5, get off work at 5 o'clock. And the game starts at 7:05.
Right. I mean,
so then by the time you get to the game, you kind of don't even have time to go home and take a shower and wash your day off. You have to go straight to the game.
Straight to the game. That's it, man.
And then by the time the game is over, and then you deal with all the traffic to get home, and like us, Pete, we live in Newport. I live in Newport Richie.
I live in Clearwater. I'm only 30.
Exactly.
Right.
And see, look, I'm 30 minutes from Clearwater. So I'm almost at least an hour away from St. Petersburg.
Right. Exactly. I mean, and again, these are the type of things, but then what makes it worse and compounds it is because you're willing to drive to a Bucs game. You're willing to drive to a Lightning game. Why? Because the owners don't talk about how awful the fan base is. They don't talk about how they're not making enough money, how they can't sustain, how they want to move to a new area, how they want to put friggin' signs up during a playoff run. It makes no sense at all unless you don't want to be here. And basically, you want to be like the Bucs of old and shoot yourself in the foot, which is exactly what this Rays ownership continues to do when they say this type of stuff because the fans hate it. They absolutely hate it. I'm telling you. The reaction to my Facebook post, I was shocked by it because it is majority. Stu is a terrible owner. We need a new owner. That's it. That's what it comes down to.
Sell it to the Glazers. Why not? Go ahead.
Sell it to Jeff Vinnick. I mean, because that guy definitely knows what the hell he's doing. And look, the Lightning haven't always been the most perfect franchise at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, Pete, you've been here for how long?
Forever.
After the Bucs and the Lightning won. The Bucs won the Super Bowl, 2002, 2003.
Correct.
The Lightning won the Lightning won the Stanley Cup 03, 04.
Yep.
For years, it was crickets.
Yep. It was like this. It was like this. And they had poor ownership for the Lightning. And then Jeff Vinnick comes in and he endears himself to the fan base. He does everything for the season ticket holder. You don't see him saying, you know what, we got a bad situation. We need some improvements to this. If I don't get the improvements, I don't get what I want. I'm going to cut salary. I'm going to get rid of Steven Stamkos. I'm going to get rid of this player and this player. I'm going to really piss off the fan base. No, nobody does that besides this ownership.
No, man, listen, let me tell you something. When the Rays got rid of Carl Crawford, I'm like, okay, somebody is smoking crack around there. They got rid of Crawford. They got rid of Price.
Right.
They traded Longoria. What is going on?
Right.
What is going on? Blake Snell. Did they get Blake Snell back?
No, they traded him away. I mean, he didn't make the playoffs this year.
They gave up Snell for nothing.
Right. Well,
didn't we have what was his name? Archer?
Well, that was a good trade for them. I mean, they traded Archer, and then they got back Baz, they got back Meadows, and they got back Tyler Glass now. That's the hardest thing about this because the Rays have been a consistent winner, but can you imagine that they spent $100 million? They could have won some World Series already because it shows the last 10 years there's only been one team under $100 million that's won a World Series. And people go, well, there's no correlation to that. The hell there isn't.
Right. Right. And I mean, the Dodgers, I'm like, man, where the hell are they getting all this goddamn money from? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, TV money, and it comes down to, being a bigger market. I get that, but
the Rays are like, for the last 3-4 years, they've been a consistently I'm not even going to say good team. They've been a great team.
Yeah.
It's not like back in the day when you be like, oh, the Rays are playing. Oh, they're going to lose today again.
Right.
They're like, okay, who? And like I said, I'm a Red Sox fan. And I come home and I'm like, oh, shit, who are the Rays? Whose ass are they kicking today?
Right. And that's the sad thing about it. And I do think there's plenty of Rays fans out there, but when you have ownership, when you have these type of moves, and maybe it's for the good of the team, but at the end of the day, fans don't understand the business of sports. Don't try to preach that to me. They don't understand it. What they want is fan favorites. And when you trade away fan favorites, and again, I go back to Dennis Phillips of ABC Action News. He said it on air. I canceled my season tickets because they traded Evan Longoria. How many people do you think did that? How many people do you think look at Joe Madden going to the Cubs and winning a World Series because he wasn't paid $1.5 million?
Is it crazy that the Rays seem like a major league farm team?
I mean, I don't think it's crazy. I just think they get so far. I think they
get all these players
right
that we raise up from AA and AAA or wherever they come from.
Yep.
And they become great players for our team.
Yep.
And they become the leaders and the captains of our team. And
yep.
You trade them in their prime.
Yep. You trade them in their prime. You get the most value. You look for future guys, and the fans don't understand future. They just don't.
Who's the Derek Jeter or the David Ortiz for the Rays?
I thought Evan Longoria was one for a while there, and until they traded him away. Carl Crawford. You mentioned him.
Yep. I remember BJ Upton played for the Rays. I love that guy.
Right.
They got him. They let him go for nothing.
Nothing. It's disappointing, but I think that all that stuff combined has taken a toll. That's the reason why you don't have the fan support. And still you have people watching TV. You still have the highest TV ratings, and nobody will talk about that because across baseball, it is a big time problem. People don't want to show up to baseball games anymore because, again, I don't know, pandemic, prices, and also the experience at home can save you money. You ever watch it on a HD TV? You ever watch it on a 4K TV? It's like you're there.
Absolutely. Hey, dude, I got a 75-inch 4K in my front room, man. Trust me.
There you go. I mean, you're there. You're camping out. You got your snacks. You don't have to deal with other fans rousing you up and trying to get into a fight with you because every time you turn on a video.
Or, you so happenly to take down your mask to get a drink, you don't have somebody breathing down your neck.
Right. Exactly, my friend. You understand it. I don't understand why they don't, but I don't think they want to understand it. I really don't think they want the Rays to be here, and I think they're looking for their best opportunity, and Major League Baseball most likely is going to help them get that opportunity, and this whole Montreal Tampa thing is just stupid. It's just stupid.
This is going to be funny that I'm going to say this because, we don't understand rich people problems.
I don't. And I think that's the problem because when you have somebody that once again doesn't endear themselves to the fan base and you hear a multi-millionaire go off and say, you know what, I can't sustain, I need an $892 million stadium or I'm leaving, that to the blue collar person who's making $32,000, $35,000 in this area says, go pound sand.
Yep, exactly. Hey, my wife watches those reality TV shows.
Right.
And I laugh because I'm like, these people have made billions of dollars doing other things, and now they're on TV acting a damn fool.
Yep.
Does it just don't? I will never understand rich people problems because unfortunately, I'm not filthy rich. So
right.
But listen, you know what? The Rays are going to make a mistake. And they're going to end up just like Montreal did. Well,
I feel bad for the area because I do think there are fans here. I like the new stadium to be somewhere else. If it can't work with Tropicana, I love Tropicana. But again, its location, a lot of people don't like it. If they win a World Series, which you never know, they may win it this year. Who knows?
They won last year.
Right. You just kind of imagine if you would have put a little bit more money into the product and investing in it. That's my big time problem. It's always about, Rays fans, they should invest in this product. They should go out and support it because it's great. Well, the ownership should do the same thing. I mean, that's the difference between ownerships of the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They invest in their product. People believe that they're going to win. They're going to do anything it takes to win. And there's no doubt about that. With the Rays, there is. So good.
Not only that, but why didn't you try to go out and get somebody like Max Scherzer?
Why not? I mean, they got a bat, which was great. But
I mean, you could have went out. Chris Bryant was a young guy. You could have went out and tried to get him. He would have fit perfectly with this team. I think he's just another young guy.
I agree, but
with championship experience.
With the Rays, I can't necessarily fault everything they do because they've won some games, but at the end of the day, it's about making those moves at the trading deadline. It's about making those moves in the offseason, and I just don't have faith that they do that enough, but they don't. So in my opinion, they're going to be what they're going to be, and that's a team that maybe wins a World Series one of these days, but I highly doubt it because they don't invest in it enough, and that's my problem. I think the fan base has the same problem as I do.
Can I kidnap your show for 2 minutes, please? I really want to say something.
Sure, go for it.
To my Bucs fans. Okay?
Sure, go for it.
I have been a Bucs fan since 1995.
Okay.
I was 10 years old. Okay. I moved from Nebraska here, and that was the home team. I loved it. I actually like the color orange.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Very few people that like the color orange.
Right.
And I loved the creamsicles. I still love the creamsicles. But I've been a Bucs fan for a long time. I want people to stop believing what their eyes see. Look, we lost to a team Sunday. We were playing 4th and 5th string cornerbacks.
Yep.
Please, these guys haven't played since college. They played in preseason games, but preseason games are nothing like the regular season.
Yep.
When those guys are playing in the preseason, they're playing against kids that just came out of college, just like them. They're not playing against Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins and Colin. I mean, not Colin Kaepernick. I was going to say Kaepernick. But what's that kid from Arizona? You know who that is.
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, him.
Yes.
These guys are all pros and stars.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the only thing that we were missing were we should have signed a veteran free agent.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have to be a major part of the team, but we have. The secondary is the youngest part of our team.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to last year, you feel very confident what they did in that postseason that they were going to grow. But, it comes down to, once again, availability. And if you don't have those guys, then you're depending on players that are inexperienced and have to come in those situations that may not necessarily be as good. I mean, that's how it goes sometimes. So are you in favor of signing a Richard Sherman? Are you in favor of that?
Why not?
Okay.
I'll just simply say, why not? You know what? If we're going to go all out and we're trying to go back to back, when you start, if you bring Sherman on and you start getting these young guys back, there's things that a veteran cornerback can still teach these young kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, the coaches are teaching them things, but, I don't even know who was our DB coach.
I'm trying to think right now. I'm at a loss because
I don't remember if he played or not. But my point is this: same thing I said about Sherman is the same thing about
Kevin
Chris
Ross.
Brown.
I believe Kevin Ross.
Okay,
he did play.
But Sherman has championships. Sherman has played in many big games.
Yes,
this guy has played against the best.
Right.
He's going to teach these kids some things that they haven't seen, they haven't done, they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like, Carlton Davis, this is what, his 4th year, 3rd year?
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing to be in the, I mean, it's something to be in the NFL because, you made it there. But he's the best player on our team. The best player DB on our team. And then you look at people like Bunting who came alive in the playoffs, but look at all the pressure the front four
Mhm.
or the front seven applied. He couldn't help but to be great. The ball was falling in his hands.
Right.
And, he took advantage of his opportunities. But, a team is a team because all working parts work together.
Correct.
And if the front seven is not doing their job, and, David and Devin White are flying all over the field, whatever they can, doing whatever they can, but we're not getting any pressure up front. Shaq Barrett wasn't getting any pressure. Him and Joe, they tried their hardest.
Yeah, I mean, I salute the Rams and Sean McVay for having a game plan, but at the end of the day, it goes back to what BA said. You got to get there, and if you're gonna blitz, you gotta make sure you get there. And if you don't, then bad stuff happens. But that's kind of scary. That's probably the scariest aspect of this team right now. Is 3 sacks in 3 games, but it doesn't help not having a JPP. But players got to step up, and they definitely got to step up on Sunday versus a rookie quarterback and a Mac Jones. Good stuff, Curtis. Anything else, my friend?
No, I think I'm gonna get ready to get some rest.
All right, my friend. Thanks a
You
lot
have
for
a
the
great
call.
night, brother.
Appreciate you. And let me go ahead and give you that Ric Flair woo right there. Good stuff by Curtis. Thanks a lot. Open phone line if you want to call up. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go back to this, and then we will end it for the night after. But I just wanted to make a point. I honestly did. That I'm not the only one that's thinking this way. Here we go with Mr. David Sampson here on CBSSports.com.
On winning. You're right, because no one's talking about the sign. Totally right, Matt. GMAB. We believe in our sister city plan. Major League Baseball believes in it fully. And here we go. The quote of the day on Nothing Personal. It's the best and possibly only chance for baseball to be here for generations. And that's been our sole focus. It's never been about other markets and relocation overtures. It's always been about how we can make it work here. Horse hockey. Folks, the Tampa Bay Rays and their ownership group have been talking about relocating the team since the first time I ever spoke to them.
There you go, right there. Left the truth, set you free.
Woo! It's been on their list of things to do, but they're playing it right because there's a lease in the trop that they can't get out of until 2027. They're almost at the end where they have to start building a new stadium. Imagine if they have to build 2 new stadia. Oh my God. I had enough service building one. It gave me heartburn. It gave me ulcers, hernias. We'll build 2. It'll be fine. Wait till they start building in Canada and then in Florida. The price of materials is skyrocketing. This is a perfect plan. I don't know why he had to tell you, the fans, that relocation has never been what's been on our mind. The Tampa Bay Montreal split city solution is not about anything other than our love for Tampa. Really? How much money are you putting into the new ballpark, Tampa? Why haven't you tried to get a public-private partnership in Tampa, putting in the amount of money that we were willing to put in Florida? The answer is because you don't want to be in Tampa. And that's fine. It's your team. You just have to pay a relocation.
All in. Start playing with real.
My bad. There we go. He said it best. What did he say? Because they don't want to be in Tampa. Who's been saying that forever now on this show? And somebody else that actually worked in Major League Baseball with 2 franchises and the Florida Marlins and also dealing with the Montreal Expos just told you. But let's go ahead and continue to listen here, shall we? All right, here we go.
Fee, or you can sell the team to someone who will get it done in Tampa. Hello, Mr. Vinnick, are you available? Anybody? I'm not going to ask the Glazers, but I could. But I think Vinnick may be a good choice, the owner of the Tampa Bay Lightning, who's completely redone Tampa and made the Lightning a Southern hockey team in the middle of 90-degree heat, has made them a prime example of how to do it right in a franchise and how to get ancillary revenue. You're not happy where you're located? Do a real estate deal. Get a deal done. Get your hands dirty. Get down in the gutter. That's where you have to do it. But don't put a sign up in foul territory during the playoffs. Say that you're doing it by hiding behind baseball and the fact that you love your team, you want to keep winning, and everything's going to be A-okay. And then say this is the only chance you actually have of ever seeing baseball again, Tampa. And here we are in the playoffs with the best front office in baseball. Aren't you going to miss us? There's nothing subtle about that. What's your reason for saying it's subtle? Building a ballpark is complicated. It is risky. You have to negotiate stadium agreements that are long, detailed, with multiple sets of lawyers, environmental impact statements. It's complicated. Building two at once, count me out. They built Petco in San Diego. That is an amazing ballpark. Redid the entire downtown. Great public transportation. They've had everything in San Diego but a winning team. Not for lack of trying, just for lack of competence. And believe me, I know what that looks like. I was always upset when people would say, hey, the Marlins stink, Samson, and you're the problem. They would say, man, you didn't spend any money. And I always wanted to say, no. It's not that we didn't spend money. We just spent it wrong. It's a big difference, isn't it? I guess in that way, it makes us more like San Diego. Do you know when I sit and talk to you about games and about being a president, and you ask me, why don't you want to go back? If someone called you, would you want to run the Mets? Hey, Steve, I know you're not tweeting anymore since our little Twitter thing.
All right, so that's it for that. I just wanted to take you inside that podcast. It's amazing, right? When you hear something you already heard or already know, right? Tampa Bay doesn't want to be here. Trying to build two stadiums is crazy. We'll see what happens. Thanks to our guest tonight, JC Allen of the Pewter Report, talking about Bucs. Of course, updating you on the injury situation with this team. We'll have more throughout the week. We'll be back on Friday night with Dennis Phillips of ABC Action News and plenty of other guests. And, of course, your phone calls here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television live on NSPN and, of course, I Love St. Pete. I'm your host, Peter Blake. 2-3 things for me to end this night. Yes, we did talk baseball. Yes, we did talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers and around the NFL. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Have a great night.
Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.